Along the Kent coastline lies a lifeline for migrating birds returning to the county. For many, the beach is a vital stopover for rest and food, after flying thousands of miles before settling down inland in Kent. But within the birdsong lies an unheard threat to their lives, because each time they return, the landscape looks different and there are fewer places for them to nest. At what point will we stop hearing them call as our homes replace theirs? One bird facing that reality is the nightingale.
And it's here in Who where there's proposed plans for 450 homes which may impact the nightingale. But as we can see here, it's looking a little bit abandoned, so why not at this site?
Councillor Michael Pearce has raised thousands of pounds to protect the site and surrounding areas.
Tell me what the importance is of this site.
So this site is Chattenham Barracks, and with Lodge Hill it's the most important site in the entire country for nightingale, which is a red listed species that suffered an 80 to 90% decline in the last 50 years. Most places you're lucky just to have 1 or 2 or 3 singing males, but here we've got nearly 200 singing males, so that just shows how special this site is and how it's so important we protect it from development, not just on it itself but also nearby, because that also has impacts on the nightingale. What we do know is that there's around a dozen nightingales on this particular site itself, just this site, so out of that 200 there's 12 on here. So what we do know for a fact is that those 12 nightingales will go, those territories will go with this development that's proposed. But also, being so close to the rest of the SSSI site, which is a site of special scientific interest, this proposal of 450 homes will have a big impact on those other nightingales.
People walking past on their daily walk might think that it's just a bit of an abandoned space, so why not have it for homes, because there is a demand for homes at the moment.
There is a demand for homes, but we need to be careful where we place houses. We can't build them in places where there's ecological harm, such as here. But you're right, it is this specific site, Chattenham Barracks, is a brownfield site. But it's an ecologically important brownfield site. So although it has got brownfield site status, it's still important for wildlife, and that's why we still need to protect it. There was an argument and debate about this for Lodge Hill back in 2013. There was an argument on different sides whether it was brownfield and greenfield. The majority of Lodge Hill is greenfield. It's ancient woodland. It looks green, but the people that wanted to develop the site, they kept arguing it was brownfield, and they thought that was a good reason why it should be developed. But the brownfield status or greenfield status doesn't change the fact that this is an ecologically sensitive area.
Homes England have said that they're going to put precautions in place for this area. What are your concerns with that?
So they're trying to basically mitigate losing those territories by creating more space for them to move into, but they're doing it back to front. They need to create the compensation land first, assess it, make sure that it's been successful, make sure there's been a net increase in nightingales, and then if they are allowed to, go ahead with building this site.
But this isn't the first time the area has faced proposals. There were plans for 5,000 houses, which were declined due to potential disruption to the nightingales. The government has a huge target of 1.5 million new homes in England. The Planning and Infrastructure Act 2025 became law at the end of last year.
Planning and Infrastructure Act.
Aiming to streamline planning processes, but it means there are less environmental checks locally, because developers can put money into national levies which fund large-scale nature projects.
For local communities, it could mean the loss of that habitat. At this stage, we don't know where the enhancement and mitigation work that the delivery plans are going to carry out, where that will be. So it could be in your region, it could be somewhere else, it could be outside the county.
But with the Medway draft local plan set to propose more than 24,000 homes by 2041, what will this mean for the towns?
Do you think there's now the risk of planning proposals that may have been declined previously now receiving the green light?
I think it's about balance more than anything else. There's no point in developing thousands of new homes if at the end of the day you're just creating yourself a real headache for the next 20 years in terms of traffic jams and lack of open space and all the other elements, and not enough health facilities and not enough schools. You have to get that balance between infrastructure delivery and growth in the population.
This site has had proposals before, and the Nightingale has been a barrier before for those proposals. Do you think the Infrastructure and Planning Act may see this proposal have the green light?
I can't possibly say at this stage. I think, again, you're into two different areas. On the one hand, you've got this pressure for us to deliver all our homes from government. We've got to do that and that kind of thing. If we don't deliver it, then we can lose public inquiries, and a developer can come in and say, well, look, you're not delivering your 5-year supply of land for housing. We've got a site here which we want to propose, and we'll fight you at a public inquiry. We'll lose that. We've lost a lot of public inquiries in the last 10 years on that basis.
In who we're a stakeholder for the Nightingale, do you think enough is being done to protect that bird?
I think the bird's happy. I mean, that's really the fun. The outcome we're after is more nightingales, and there are a lot more nightingales out there than there were 10 years ago. So whatever's the RSPB have been involved heavily. Homes England, who own the land, have done a huge amount on that land to encourage more nightingales in the areas around Lodge Hill. And then we've got the Deangate Community Parkland, which is a new country park that we're in the middle of right now. The contractors are out there putting the paths in and planting trees everywhere and creating more habitat and all that kind of stuff. That's happening as we speak, right on the doorstep next to who.
I went back to the barracks to find out why this site is so important.
So what they like is they like dense scrub that they can hide in, because there's one thing about nightingales you need to know. It's that the song is great and you can hear them, but you very rarely see them, so they hide away. They're really secretive.
Why is it so important that we protect this bird and this habitat that it's in?
I think because its status as the best site for nightingales in the UK means that for a vulnerable species, the obvious thing to do is make sure that population is secure. Core of conservation and saving nature is not stopping development. The core of it is just making good decisions about what we do with land and where we put things.
For people at home who may not know too much about birds, why should they really care?
We are part of nature, we're not disconnected from it. We kind of we're part of ecology, we need it to survive. And birds are sometimes like a kind of an indicator of the health of the countryside. So on a very basic level, if birds aren't doing well, then we're potentially in trouble as a species ourselves.
For residents in Who, the loss of wildlife, green space and infrastructure are all on their list of concerns.
It's all very well providing houses, but you need schools, doctors, even more shops.
One should not be prioritized over the other, right? One should not be prioritized over the other. We need to look at it in a holistic way. You're building new properties, new homes, right? Have you left enough setback for green areas?
As they get older, like us, they won't necessarily be driving, you know? And yeah, and you've still got to get to the shops and the doctors.
There's lack of facilities. The greenery around here is still being decimated. Very little left.
And it's not just the residents, whose neighbours are also looking for a balance.
Just seeking a little reassurance on how we and local decision makers hold to account developers on stalled sites, brownfield sites. Absolutely, we need to really get them going and get them building. We've got over 5,000 permitted homes in Gravesham, but alongside this, that reassurance that those small pockets of beautiful green space that are in our urban areas are protected as well.
However, Homes England, which inherited the barracks, says that protecting species and building new homes do not have to be competing priorities. They added that they consider the habitats needed for wildlife, as well as their protection and enhancement throughout the development process, while also delivering much needed housing. But can there ever be a balance between housing and nature? I've been to meet a new developer called Crowdace. They have a set of homes called the Green Collection in Aylesford that are sustainable homes that go further than building requirements.
From the outside, what features can we see or might not be able to see that are environmentally friendly?
Yeah, so on the outside we've got eco bricks, which are basically a narrower profile, 36% narrower, and therefore use less materials and less energy in the manufacture. And those bricks wrap a timber frame, so highly insulated and renewable resource in terms of constructing the main structure of the building. And then when we look up to the roof, we've got solar PV tiles.
Shall we take a look inside to see what other features that these houses have? Perfect. Doors open, shall we take a look? What may be hidden that people may not realise?
So the kitchens are sourced from a manufacturer that provides 100% recycled content. At the end of the lifespan for the kitchen, it's 100% recycled in turn, so it can be fully recycled through its lifespan.
And behind us, the view out the window is the garden. Shall we take a look?
Yes.
It's not just new homes they want to be sustainable, it's the whole development. The area has bug houses, hedgehog hides and log piles, all to help our little friends.
Is it working?
I would say it is. I mean, we've got a commitment as a business, whereas most developments are regulated to achieve 10% biodiversity net gain. As a business, we're committed to 15% biodiversity net gain as a minimum, but more typically across our developments, we're actually achieving upwards towards 20%.
Why aren't other people following your lead? Is it affordable?
Of course, there's a cost to doing this, but we're in a fortunate position as a business in that we're family owned, and we've got a family who are strongly committed to sustainability and are pushing us to do more, to do things that help the environment. And of course, we're also very committed to that as a group of employees and directors.
Towards the end of last year, we saw the Infrastructure and Planning Act receive Royal Assent. Has this impacted you at all?
Yeah, we're really seeing the benefits coming through now. I mean, obviously there's a range of kind of components to the bill for house builders, but obviously there are big benefits in terms of planning, and we're seeing the benefit of that in terms of bringing schemes forward. But we're very mindful, particularly as Crowdace, of the reputation the house building industry has as a whole in terms of the environment and its impact on the environment. And obviously the bill provides various benefits in terms of kind of nature recovery, and we're wholeheartedly behind that and looking to promote that, as I say, in terms of our schemes.
The estate here shows a potential future for both housing and the environment to coincide, but with everyday housing demand increasing, who will be left calling for home?